Okay, so this is the quick review for Unit 4, the celebration of personality with all the many theorists that we've had. Just as previous tests have been, this is for 50 points. The format is the same. We'll start off with some true and false. Then where you'll have to make the false statements true, like you always do. Then we'll go into some multiple choice questions over all of the theories combined. And then there'll be 3 separate matching sections over the specifics of Maslow's hierarchy will be one, defense mechanisms will be another, and emotional intelligence will be the third. So those will each get their own separate section of matching. From there, we'll go on to a short answer, where you're going to have to, as you have in the past, combine different concepts and think about how those concepts could overlap within personality. And then finally there'll be the essay, and I'll talk more about that in just a second. But there's a lot of content, again, that you need to know. And so the best way, instead of just figuring, oh my gosh, I have all this to learn, how can I organize this? How can I chunk this? How can I make it meaningful so that I can see how these concepts relate to one another? And so you can either do top down or bottom up. If you do bottom up, then you're going to start with the individual concepts. And so, where do you get those? Well, you can just look in your review sheets in your binder, or else throughout the binder. But these are things like the idea of self-efficacy. Do you know what self-efficacy is? Hopefully you know that that is somebody's belief in their ability to do something. Okay, so then can I apply that to personality? Well, what if I apply that to somebody who's shy? What they have high or low self-efficacy when it comes to completing a social task? Something like that would be a good way to process that information. Beyond just knowing the concepts, you need to know the associated theory for the concept. So for instance, keeping with self-efficacy, you need to know that that comes from Bandura's theory of social learning, who says that, we have an influence, we have a say in how our personality turns out. And then finally, that Bandura is part of the construct of social cognition. And so you could start at the other end and you could say, okay, what's social cognitive construct? What are the theorists that are underneath it, or who, are the theorists that are underneath it, and then what are the concepts for each theorist? I don't care which way you go, but that way you're chunking it all together. Some people like to make flashcards and rearrange the flashcards. That physical movement of the cards is always a good way to do this too, if that's something that helps you. The essay, as I said above, will be an application to a case study. And once you get that test in front of you, you will know which construct, which umbrella you have. And you won't know that until you get the test. I don't know that. There's 4 different versions of the test, so you're going to get one of the 4. And so what you're going to have to do is not only say what those theorists have in common that put them under the same construct, which you should already have in your review sheet, but you're going to have to apply each theorist within the construct separately. So for instance, if you get the social cognitive construct, okay, well, who's in that and what do they have in common? Okay, and I will have the theorist, the names on the exam for you, so you can see those. However, I won't have what they did. And so you need to know what Bandura did, what Rotter did, and so forth. And then to end up the essay, I do ask you, again, this is that level 4 question. Is this theorist, that you got, is this group of theories, that you got the best way to analyze this theory, or is there a better construct that should have been used? And you have to support that judgment statement. So there's a lot of thinking involved here, and you have to have a good grasp on the theories to be able to support your argument. Okay. So like I said, organize your learning. You can do that by chunking these things together, these different theories together. You can color code them. You can go back and highlight throughout your notes. That's good. You can categorize them into sub and superordinate categories. And just like I showed you on the first slide, go back and think of all of our class activities that we've done and how we learn to put these together and to think beyond. Also, it's really important as you understand each of these theories on personality. Some of them categorize you into only one category, and then some of them say, no, you can be in multiple categories. And so, for instance, with the emotional intelligence, I can be high in some areas and low in other areas of moo-poo, but so I'm all in not just one of those of the 4 areas. With Maslow's hierarchy, I can be at different places in the hierarchy, different ways that my needs can be met. Okay, like I said, in other theories, you can only be in one category. If I look at Eysenck's idea of extroversion and introversion, I can be in the middle, but I can't be both an extrovert and an introvert. I can't be both stable and unstable. It's a continuum, so it's going to put me in one of those places. Hopefully we have gotten to this, or we'll get to this in class, but if not, this is another good way to kind of use this information, and that's by writing a personal ad. So you see these online all the time, men seeking women or whatever. It might be people wanting a roommate, whatever. And so this is one that was written to show you how you can take characteristics of personality and attribute them to the different theories. So from Capable Cornelia, she says, I'm social but not seeking attention. So there's an ambivert for you. And am an animal lover, should say, which is her anima, the nurturing side, who is searching for a roommate who is independent and confident in their ability to share chores. There's the self-efficacy part. And as well as being calm, stable, and reliable, which means they're introverted but emotionally stable. And so, you have to be able to recognize those concepts. And then you will have written back to people in your response, showing again other types of theories here. I'd like to talk to you to see if we'd get along, because I'm the one in charge and need to know if you can live with that. So that would be like Karen Horney's idea of being domineering. Or I think we get along great because we could have stuffed animals all over the apartment, since I'm also into my feminine side, so from Pretty Patty. So those, again, hopefully we will have gotten to this in class so that you will have lots of examples. But, think about, how do I want to organize and how do I want to prepare for this test? So good luck.